Bourbon Barkeep, my name's Curtis, and bet you didn't think I was doing a Wild Turkey 8 episode. If you follow the channel at all, really, not the biggest Wild Turkey fan, but guess what? I also want to be a little closer to a budget-friendly whiskey channel, so here we are. Wild Turkey 8-year, the age-stated bottle, finally made it to the Kansas City, Missouri area. I was like, fine, I gotta do it. Why not? This will be great in the house call Wednesdays with the blind matchups. Trying to trick myself. For $45, it's still a budget pour, is what I would call it. But after we do a little spotlight of this guy, I want to see, is it even worth being a budget pour when Wild Turkey 101 is so good for so many people? And then, did we find something for the Kentucky Spirit fans where it's like, why am I paying $60, $65? So stay tuned for that at the end. First, we gotta give Wild Turkey 8 its due. Deep dive in, $45, 75% corn, 13% rye, 12% malted barley. So here we are, just standard stuff. Just slapping an age on there and hoping people bite. I don't know. Let's see if it's all it's cracked up to be and it was worth the madness, if you will. This is pretty decent. Not gonna lie to you. Nice vanilla, a lot of baking spice right up front with this nice cinnamon and nutmeg just kind of tickling the nostrils. A lot of fruit, cherry, citrus. You have these orange peels, lemon peels in there. Just a touch of grass, but nothing off-putting. I feel like the oak presence is definitely ramped up. It's 8 years going in, or at least a minimum of 8. Not bad. I feel like the typical turnoff for me is that Wild Turkey funk. Some people love it. Good for you all. I steer more toward the Russells. This one seems to be a little died down. I'm not going to sit there and go all the way and say this is like their limited edition style Wild Turkey. When I say that, I mean if you think to Russell's 13, Russell's 15, Wild Turkey 12, these limited edition Wild Turkeys, I feel like they dial back the Wild Turkey funk for whatever reason. Seems to fit my palate. But this one, that clove, that anise, that allspice seems to be at least dialed down on the nose. So I'm a little more intrigued as a non-Wild Turkey guy. Let's get on the palate and see. It starts off clove, to where I'm like, oh no. But kind of rushes through the rest of these baking spices, this really nice caramel and vanilla. Tip of the palate, not for me, not gonna lie to you. Mid to back, little bit of a believer. I wouldn't say it's blowing me away, but this is much better than what I thought it was going to be. It's very rich. That oak is definitely ramped up. We're gonna find out if I'm just misremembering, but this really nice toffee, caramel syrup, and vanilla just hang on the palate for a very long time. I feel like I'm continuing to kind of experience the pour, which I feel like there's something to be said at $45 to hang around that long. That fruit continues, kind of like this fruit salad of orange, cherry, maraschino cherry, if we're going to be exact. And what else? That was it. I'm going to go with that. Let's get sip 2, and then we'll dive into some other bottles. It's really bizarre. I enjoy it. That right on the tip of the palate, there's this great sweetness, but that Wild Turkey funk is just on the tip. And as it kind of rushes across that mid to back palate, I personally just start to lose it, in a good way for me at least. But it's rich, it's sweet, very fruity, a lot of baking spice, and just a lot of sweet oak in there. I wouldn't say I get a lot of the barrel char, not a bad thing, but overall, colored me surprised. Now, we got decisions to make when we're in our local liquor store, not the big box guys. In our local liquor store, you got Wild Turkey 101, $20, just sitting there, Old Faithful, staring you in the face, and she's gotten a little thinner and a little sweeter, and it sounds good unless you're talking about whiskey. Then you got Kentucky Spirit out there, just great gold plaque on the front, and you're like, you're $65. Can I save $45? That's not math. $20 on the $45. So we're going to put those back to back and see if any of this pricing makes sense at this point. I've seen other channels do the Jimmy Russells. Yeah, I got Jimmy back there. I love Jimmy. It's been done. Go check out those guys. I think Jimmy is just 2 or 3 steps above what my experience with the Wild Turkey 8 was, and you can't get it. So I was like, okay, let's say it is better. You can't get the Jimmy Russells, so why are we talking about it still? I don't know, but I digress. Then I was like, well, the Wild Turkey 12, that's quite the price gap. I don't think that answers anything. And then Rare Breed, I'm like, I mean, you either really want the proof or you don't. So that was at least my reasoning behind it. I'm sticking with the 101s. Let's see, is there a reason to pay up from this $20 bottle of 101? Is there a reason to continue to pay up at $65, 60, 65 from the 45? So we're going to work our way up. All right, just regular Old Faithful 101 that some people say is changed and changed for the worst. I don't know. I'm not the guy for that. Vanilla does seem to be thinner, less rich. Caramel seems to be thinner, less rich. A lot of citrus. Baking spice is still there, just everything just, for whatever reason, if I didn't know these were the same proof, I would say that this one has the viscosity, even on the nose, at like a 110, where this one, 100, 101. It's a little more grassiness to it. That vanilla seems to go into like a vanilla icing, seems to be a little brighter, whereas the Wild Turkey 8 just seems to have a little more richness to it. Oh yeah. Yeah. You would never guess that these are, at least nose-wise, these are the same proof based off of that. This one smells so much more watery than what the 8-year has. Let's get on the palate. Man. Yeah, there is so much more like fennel, anise, clove, all the way through the palate, to where this may get the hype out of control, so I'm going to dial it back. This one has a little more limited edition feel on the palate, where it loses the Wild Turkey funk that I do not like. This one is what I remember Wild Turkey being. This one, I'm really happy I have, now that I'm tasting it back and forth. For someone that doesn't like that anise, that black licorice, that fennel, that clove, or even medicinal cherry that it kind of goes for, I am definitely paying up. I think there's a richness to what that $20 jump, it's there and you can experience it. All right, I'm going to go back to the 8, and then we're going to hit the Kentucky Spirit. All right, got my North Star back with the 8-year. Let's hit the Kentucky Spirit. I honestly did not come on YouTube, if you will. I genuinely thought I was going to be like, why are people paying $20 more? And I absolutely understand why. That's very good. Kind of wish I would have said it at the start, just to kind of be humbug about it, but I'm telling you, I came in glass half empty on this matchup, and it is night and day how much better the Wild Turkey 8 is. Now, let's see for the Kentucky Spirit fan. Oh yeah, for the Wild Turkey nerd, Camp Nelson F. You're welcome. All right, is it still worth paying up, or can we save $20? Let's see. Still a lot of cherry. What is that? This one has a little more cola on the nose, actually, which I wasn't expecting. Citrus is still there. Nice orange peel, more lemon peel coming out. But there's like a nice cola, cherry cola. Guess that makes sense. I feel like Kentucky Spirit has a little more complexity on the nose. I feel like I don't remember getting leather on either of these. this leather. I read that this was around 8 years as well. Maybe the youngest is 8 years. So I felt like this was a pretty good matchup, especially at the same proof. This one does seem to have a little more complexity on the nose. Let's get on the palate since this isn't a spotlight of Kentucky Spirit. The Wild Turkey funk is there. It's a Wild Turkey product for someone that doesn't enjoy that fennel and that anise and that allspice. As I've already mentioned before, I'm going to save the money and go the $20. Wild Turkey kind of has this signature funk to them. I respect it. I think that this one has a better oiliness to it. I think that this one has a little more complexity, but at least for my palate and wallet, I'm going to go Wild Turkey 8. I did anticipate this mainly because not the biggest fan. I did not anticipate being perfectly fine paying double the price of the 101. All right, do I anticipate this winning Whiskey of the Year? No, but I feel like it does deserve a score, and I feel like the bang for the buck should do pretty well here. Wild Turkey 8 year. We have our census categories that just helps drive what's in the glass. We don't take price, nothing into consideration, just what does it taste like? And I am pleasantly surprised. I thought this may be a waste of time, and it could be because it could get 14 views. But for my own personal preference, I'm happy I did it. So here we go. Census wise, I'm going to go 73. I am pleasantly surprised. That is much higher than I thought it was going to be. And I fully anticipated Wild Turkey 101 just making a fool of it. And I'm kind of happy I was wrong. There we go. Bang for the buck. What did I get for my money? Now I can take age, proof, still the experience in consideration. Would I pay that much more above $45? No. But I definitely got my money's worth. I think it's very well priced at an 8-year bourbon with a decent proof point on it. So I think I'm going to go 71. So we'll plug those into Whiskey of the Year. It's going to beat some other bottles that are higher priced, higher sought after, but Wild Turkey 8, unless you really like that black licorice and that funk, that's a buy. It's a buy all day. And I may need another. Just drain pour this guy. What is it doing here now?